1,000 Role Models of Excellence project that's overseen by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. And we're now going to take this opportunity to do the induction with the mayor, with Judge Rodney Smith and Judge Serafront, Serafront, sorry about that, Fred Serafront, who's going to be conducting the induction. We now have the mayor up front, and we will now conduct the oath with the mayor being inducted into the 5,000 role models.
His wife is not here to dress him.
Why don't you glue the time? Glue it.
If we could please have everyone's attention, this is a very sacred moment, the induction of the mayor into the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project.
That I will uphold the mission of the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project by intervening in the lives of at-risk youth. I accept my God-given responsibility of serving as a role model as we strive to fulfill our goal of guiding our young boys into manhood.
And now we will have a group photo with the role models from police department and civil service also from the city of North Miami, along with the students from W.J. Bryant Elementary School. And if we have any role models that's in the audience, if you could please come forward so you could be a part of this group picture.
So the thing is, if you can't see me, I can't see you, right? So make sure all the young boys come up. All role model boys come up. Get all of them? Real quick, guys, let me get one quick one. There we go. 3, 1, 2, and 3. It's a great shot. There you go. One more. There you go. 3, 1, 2, and 3. And the last one with the 1, 2. Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Send it to Trevor.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Joseph,
Here.
Councilman Galvin. Councilwoman Steril. Councilwoman Keys. Councilman Bieneme. Mayor, we have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. We'll proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Who's gonna do it?
Bieneme.
Pledge of Allegiance is going to be conducted by Francis Steve Bernard, 5th grader at W.J. Bryan Elementary School and president of 5,000 Role Models.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll continue with invocation by Pastor Lorenzo Johnson at Excel Church.
Good evening, everyone. As we celebrate Black History Month and we all are here together, unified, many of us are from different backgrounds, many of us from different countries, but as we celebrate Black history, we're not just celebrating Black history, we're celebrating the United States of America's history of a people who have strived and came from far and near and believed in what our country always believed, freedom for all. So tonight, as we have this council meeting tonight, I pray that everyone, the leaders and everyone in the audience in the city of North Miami come together unified under one roof, under one agenda on tonight. I pray that God blesses everyone here tonight, that everyone be in the same mind, a mind of peace, a mind of unity, a mind that thinks about the greater good of the community of North Miami. I thank everyone for coming out here tonight. Let us bow our head as we pray. God, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for what you're doing in this community. We thank you for the leaders of this community, God. We thank you for the young men that are here tonight, God, the young ladies that are here, God. Even as they come together, God, concerning your community, oh God, I ask that you bless like never before, God. God, bless this community and keep them together, God. Keep them strong, God. Even bless the mayor, God, even as he gives direction to this city, oh God. Lord, we love you, God. We love you for everything that you're doing. Bless every judge. Bless every councilman, God. Bless every concerned citizen that's here tonight, God. Bless their families and keep us unified as a city, as the city of North Miami. God, we love you and we bless your name. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Mr. Manager, do we have any additions, deletions, amendments, or deferrals?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab H as in Henry, at the request of Councilwoman Keys, would be pulled for another for our next meeting. She would like a resolution on this item.
On which one?
Tab H.
Okay, that's it?
That's it. That's it.
Now we are proceeding with special presentations at this time. I believe we have 1, 2, or 3 of them. Good evening one more time. Our first presentation is a recognition of the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence program in honor of Black History Month. This recognition is being presented to students of the 5,000 Role Models at W.J. Bryan Elementary Schools. And at this time, I'm asking all the students to please come forward, as well as the director, Mr. Ponce, and any other representative of the school. And also the council members to please join us. The certificate reads as follows. In recognition of your contributions to providing services towards empowering young boys into manhood, in honor of Black History Month, we salute the hard work and dedication of your invaluable program, which focuses on providing positive male role models to the minority and at-risk population. Your service to our community is greatly appreciated. Presented today, February 10th, 2011.
Big smile, and everyone is smiling. There you go. You want to smile? Here you go. 3, 1, 2, and 3. Good job.
Thank you, role model. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Now go home and do your homework. Homework time. Mr. Adonis Parker. Is it on? The second certificate is being presented to Mr. Adonis Parker. It's a certificate of recognition in honor of Black History Month. Where's Mr. Parker? Oh. This is, actually there is a lot of things to say about you, Mr. Parker. Mr. Parker actually is the artist who loaned the city of North Miami some of his great work, but I haven't had one yet. His work is being displayed here in the City Hall in honor of the commemorative month of Black History. And Mr. Parker has also contributed to the city several times in the past, and he is the artist that drew and painted the mural at the Joe Celestin Center. Mr. Parker, on behalf of the City of North Miami and its residents, thank you very much for your continuous dedication and participation in this year's efforts of celebrating Black History Month. Thank you very much.
One, two, and yeah, one more, guys. It's a great shot. One more. One, two, and three. Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, man, thank you very much. We have one more? Last but not least,
Members, because the president's not here. Okay, so you just call up the members of the North Miami Historical Society.
actually, for those of you who may not know, we are also celebrating the birth of the city of North Miami. To 89th anniversary when the settlers came and they started building this community, and thereafter in 1926 the city was first incorporated as a town, and a few decades later as a city. So we are very proud to present this certificate of recognition to the members of the Historical Society of the City of North Miami. Also, I should mention the special recognition to Mr. Alan Sokol for his dedication in this society to make sure that everything, any historical piece in the city is actually recognized. I think, was it last meeting? Last meeting, actually, I, along with the other members of the council, we designated that tower you see off West Dixie Highway and 132nd Street. It's a tower that was built, what year again, Mr. Sokol? 1920, 23 or 24?
24.
No, I said that just to show people that I know something. 1924, so actually that tower, it has a long history behind it. The fountain is still in functioning status, and we actually repaired it not too long ago. So, but during all this time, it was never designated as a historical monument in the city of North Miami. And last meeting, we did, we made a resolution to actually designate it as a historical monument. So therefore, nothing can be done to that monument, as you all know, as a historical piece. It cannot be bothered with. So Mr. Sokol, along with all the members, we present this to you for all your hard work and dedication to the city of North Miami, and the residents of the city of Miami actually appreciate your efforts as well, along with the council. Thank you very much. Let's go. Let's go take care of business. Thank you. Okay.
We're doing budget presentation this meeting and finance next meeting. Budget. It's gonna take too long.
Okay, budget only today? You gonna make it or some? Oh yeah, Duke is gonna make it. Okay, now we are proceeding with our meeting. The next item on our agenda is a presentation by our budget director, Mr. Art Duke Sorry. Is it the second?
The third.
The third. Let the show begin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We started doing these quarterly presentations by way of recommendations from our auditors. So we do these on a quarterly basis to outline the budget status as far as revenues and expenditures of the general fund to keep this board updated. It's important to note that the finance portion of this will be done at the next meeting. The finance will do their presentation at the next budget meeting. For the first quarter highlights, we'll look at the general fund revenues, expenditures, and then a brief recap. Right now, there's a list of all of our revenues for the general fund. And you'll see the percentage. I'll go into greater details of each of these items and each of these lines in the next slides to come. But total general fund budget, $67.1 million. To date, first quarter, we're at about $19 million of revenues coming in, which is about 29%. First one, we have ad valorem taxes. Amended budget is $15.8 million. We have 77% in so far, and this is because people pay their taxes at the beginning of the year. Next, we have general sales and use tax. This is the local option gas tax. This number is particularly low. The money doesn't normally come in until the second quarter, which is most of our taxes. The money normally starts coming in second quarter. Taxes we receive from outside agencies. Same goes for the franchise fees. Franchise fees is FP&L, City Gas, Peoples, Waste Collection, and bus benches. We do charge a franchise fees on those. Right now, we're at $211,000, but we typically start seeing the revenues during the second quarter. Next, we have our utility service tax. This is also FP&L, natural gas, fuel and oil taxes, also propane taxes, and we're at 22%, which is very good because that normally doesn't come in until the second quarter. And lastly, for taxes, we have communications tax. This includes telecommunications, videos, direct-to-home satellite, and related services. And again, it'll be coming in the second quarter. Right now, taxes are at 54%, which is normal. I believe last year we were a little lower, but I'll show you that at the end of the presentation. Next, we have our licenses and permits. Occupational licenses, everyone is required to pay their occupational licenses at the beginning of the year. That's why we're at 80%, or $315,000. Building permits, $1.2 million is our revenue number. Right now, we're at 31%. So we're doing really well with building permits. It's important to note in that $1.2 million, that accounts for all of the revenues for building permits. That's aside from our, that revenues there include our deal that we do have with CAP government. So the total is $1.2 million, but we do give CAP a portion of the $1.2 million. Other licenses and fees, that is MediaNet, that's our billboard money that we get from the billboards. And we're at 25%, right where we're supposed to be for the first quarter. Intergovernmental revenues. The first two lines are for grants. It was a recommendation of our auditors to take the grants out of general fund last year. So we did remove the grants out of the general fund, and they are listed separately in a grants fund that we do have separately. So this is not to say we don't have grants. We just listed them in a different fund and account for them in a different fund now. State shared revenues. This is your half-cent sales tax and your state revenue sharing. Total $6.2 million. We're at 26% right now. Grants from other local units, we have none. Again, those are accounted for inside the granting accounts. And shared revenues from local units. This is the occupational licenses for Dade County and occupational license for Dade County contractors. And we're at 14%. So right now, for total intergovernmental revenue, we're at 26%, which is right on target. Charges for services. The
First line, charges for services. This incorporates passport application fees, hardest hit program fees, zoning compliance review fees, and minimum housing review fees. We're at 29% right now, or $160,000, which is on target. Public safety, that's our burglar alarm fees, the San Souci Guard Gate reimbursement, and miscellaneous police revenues. And we're at 12% right now, but that's normal. We'll be okay there. Physical environment. This is where your sanitation fees are charged at, sanitation and lot clearing fees. So this is, I don't know if any of you remember last year when we had a delay in the utility bills going out, this number was really low. As you can see, we're back on target now. Everything is on time and we're billing accordingly. Culture and recreation, that's swimming pools, tennis revenue, summer camps, facility rentals, and our stadium rentals. And we're at 27% right now. Total for charges for services, we're at 22%. Fines and forfeits. The first line, that's our code liens and amnesty program and settlements that we get in. We're projecting to bring in about $571,000. We're at 17% right now. Library fines at 3%. Violation of local ordinances. These are code fines. And code fines come in. The city manager actually increased code enforcement this year. We did make some changes during the budget process at the council's request that we have more code officers. Therefore, we're bringing in more code fines when we do have fines. So we expect to far exceed the budget at $45,000, and we'll make the adjustment for next year. Other fines and forfeits, we're at 16%, $347,000. Total, we're at 18% for fines and forfeits. Miscellaneous revenues, this is our interest and earnings for money that we do have in the bank, and we're at 36%. Rents and royalties, this is the money that we get from the Oaks, the bifurcated land lease, and the other 213 units that we do have at Biscayne Landing, and we're at 10%, but that money does come in. We don't have an issue there. Contributions and donations. This is basically we get $125,000 from Alita Partners for the third-party maintenance agreement at Biscayne Landing. That's where that money comes in at. So we do receive that money from Alita Partners for that, that agreement. Miscellaneous revenues is just money that we get back from risk refunds that we have outstanding. Our non-revenues is basically interfund transfers from within $480,000. Those are just entries that we do in-house, this whole section here. Contribution from enterprise funds. The enterprise funds do pay into the general fund for services rendered when the manager and staff perform services for the enterprise funds. They are charged for them. Non-operated sources, that's your money that you do have that's sitting in reserves. And miscellaneous library grants. We do have a $6,500 library grant. Transfers out. During the budget process, we identified that the housing department was going to be short about $80,000, and we did make that move for the general fund to supplement that last $80,000 to cover the cost of housing to move forward. First quarter comparison, this is just a comparison of where the numbers were last year at the same time. And you can see it basically, on average, we're at the same place, 29% rather than 28% last year. So right now, there are no concerns for revenues coming in at all at this moment. General fund expenditures, this is just a look at how we're expending money right now and the percentage that we're at. Important to remember, these numbers will be over the 24%, 25%, because people encumber, all the departments encumber their funds at the beginning of the year through purchase orders. Budgetarily wise, once funds are encumbered, even though they're not spent actually yet, we've made a commitment to spend the money and we account for it. Everything is fine. What I would like to highlight is Museum of Contemporary Art. We know that right now with the issues that have gone on with the museum, we actually gave the museum a $500,000 loan. Right now with their spending, they had a $3.3 million budget aside from the city's budget in the past, just from the foundation. That money's gone now. We gave them $500,000. They've eaten through the $500,000. So maybe tonight's not the night to discuss it, and we'll be meeting with council later on to discuss how we plan on moving forward with MOCA. But I did want to make sure I mentioned this in our first quarter budget presentation. It will be something that needs to be looked at into greater detail. Our office has broken down the numbers, and we'll share them with council at a later time. Other than that, all departments seem on target and look on target. And that's pretty much it. Right now, the revenues, like I say, the revenues are fine. The expenditures are in line. We do have the issue with MOCA, but we will address the issue and move it forward in the future.
Okay.
The finance, again, the finance portion of this presentation will be done on the next meeting. We'll have it on the next meeting to explain the cash in the bank and money in and out in the cash flow.
Quick question. When we voted to remove the second meter charge base, was it effective immediately or for the next budget season?
It was effective immediately for start in November moving forward. That was actually in our water and sewer department in the enterprise funds, but it was for November and moving forward. And we did, we will be issued, we sent the memo out, we will be issuing a credit to anybody who paid costs on the second meter after November.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it? Do you, go ahead.
I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You referenced that the housing department was short $40,000. Can you explain that? Why? What was the transfer for?
Basically, the housing department, CDBG in particular, we have housing grants. We do have properties out there that we do have, and when the money has been decreasing from CDBG over the years, we actually did eliminate 2 positions in CDBG this budget fiscal year. 2 positions were eliminated. The third position that was there is a position that inspects the housing that we are responsible for. We couldn't remove, we just did feel it was a good decision to remove that person who was supposed to be inspecting the houses at this time. We look to get out of that business by the end of the year, but we couldn't take that out without putting ourselves at liability. So we did fund $80,000 from the general fund over to housing to cover this cost.
So the money was for a salaried position?
For a salary position, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. CD events?
Thank you.
Pam, where's Pam?
No city events this week?
She's coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone, and to our viewers at home. I'd like to share with you a few of our upcoming events. Of course, we are celebrating Black History Month here in the city of North Miami with a number of events throughout the month of February. Tonight we had a reception. We honored the 5,000 role models and Adonis Parker. Adonis's work is on exhibition here on the second floor lobby of City Hall. And this Thursday, we are having a Nomi Musical Nights concert entitled Spiritual Explosion. It will take place here in the MOCA Plaza at 7 p.m. from 7 to 9. MOCA Plaza is right next door to City Hall. It's a free community concert, and it's featuring inspirational performances by local choirs and vocalists throughout South Florida. Now, at 6 p.m., at MOCA, we are having an exhibition opening, an opening reception of Under the Bridge, Beyond the Beach, and Above the Muck, The Art of Purvis Young. And that exhibition opening kicks off at 6, and MOCA will be open until 9 p.m. MoCA is, of course, right next door to City Hall, 770 Northeast 125th Street. The exhibit is on view through March 12th, so if you don't make it this Thursday, February 12th, you have a month to see this exhibit. It's a wonderful exhibit of a local artist. Purvis Young was born here in Miami and we received a wonderful collection of artwork from Ruth Shack. And for MoCA's information, we invite you to visit mocanomi.org. Babakar and his staff have a ton of exhibit information and contemporary dialogues, lecture series, and moving images, which is a movie series that all circle around the Black experience in Miami. So please visit mocanomi.org for more information. We also have Moonlight Tales celebrating African American folklore on Wednesday, February 25th, also here in the MoCA Plaza at 6:30 p.m. That is a storytelling and spoken word performances. We will feature Tony Simons, who is a national award-winning storyteller, local poets, and spoken word artists. It's presented in part by the Friends of the North Miami Public Library, and all of the families that attend this event will also receive a free book from the North Miami Public Library. So it's once again 6:30 Wednesday, February 25th, here in the MoCA Plaza. Jazz at MoCA is always the last Friday of every month. This last Friday is February 27th. The concert kicks off at 8 p.m. and we will feature the Marcus Gottschalk Quartet with an homage to Miles Davis. Throughout the month, we are also featuring a student art contest for K-12 students in North Miami, where they're encouraged to participate. The theme and guidelines are available on our website at northmiamifl.gov/NOMI Library. The deadline to submit artwork is February 18th, and for more information, you can contact our library annex at 305-891-5535. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Before we move forward with the formal agenda, I've had many residents call and come to me and complain about the length of our meetings. Of course, we have a lot of people who come from work. They rush to these meetings and they expect, to voice their opinions about certain items on the agenda. And in the past, we've had, public citizens forum at the beginning of the meetings, and they've been moving it back and forth. So I've been agonizing over that issue, and I've sat down with the manager and discussed the possibilities of shortening our meetings, not just for the residents, but for me too, because I like to get home early at night. Right? No? Or you don't want to get home early at night? Okay.
This is reality TV.
This is reality TV. No, what we actually came up with is, well, we didn't come up with anything new. As we know, there is a 2-minute limit to every citizen who comes to the microphone and express him or herself. And we are trying to adhere to that a law or rule. And we have a beautiful young lady here, Katya, who would be the one to give the cue when somebody comes to the mic and give you a 1-minute warning, 30-second warning, and so forth. That way, everybody will have the opportunity to express themselves. And so we can, we can do it. And that's what we will do. And then we will also limit, on every item, please, when you come to the podium, see to it that you can be as concise as possible, to the point. Do not discuss any issue outside of the item that is being discussed. And if you have any item outside of that, please wait for citizens forum, at which time you will be able to talk about any other item. So having said so, let's move forward with the agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion made by Councilwoman Key, seconded by Councilwoman Sterrill. Anyone wishes to record a no? Consent agenda passes 5-0. Tab E, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to terminate the management service agreement as amended under the second renewal to property management services agreement between the city of North Miami and Joe Celestine Civil Engineer and General Builder, LLC, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
I'll make a motion to terminate the contract.
Second. Does staff make a presentation of any type?
Do we have any stuff?
No, actually, I'm going to give you the background on it. In your package, as per the last city council meeting, you have provided for you the original RFP that went out for this service. And that RFP clearly states that the property management services on the Biscayne Landing site was for a period until the city obtained a developer on the site. And if you look at the RFP, the scope of work has changed, I would say almost 80% on what is being done on the site by the property manager. So since the inception of the contract, the scope of work has changed, and at this point, I'm recommending termination of the contract.
Can you give us some details about the scope of work, Mr. Manager? And explain to the council and also to the residents what are the changes that have occurred to those duties?
On the actual scope of work, it says, it clearly outlines review. I will just read the beginning of the contract. The city of North Miami has assumed ownership of the coveted undeveloped land tract, which is known as Biscayne Landings. Biscayne Landings is a 184-acre site located east of Biscayne Boulevard from actually it's Northeast 137th to Northeast 151st Street. A request for proposals to either purchase or lease the property is forthcoming. Until the land deal is completed, the city is seeking to engage an on-site property manager to manage and oversee the day-to-day activities on the site until the city land deal is completed. Scope of services. An on-site sales center is located on the site for the awarded property manager to utilize. The property manager will require to work a minimum of 5 days a week for 80 hours a day to provide subcontractors with access to enter and exit the site.
Can you clarify, you just said 80 hours a week?
80 hours a week as outlined in the original scope of work.
How do you manage that? 80 hours a week? That's
Well, by having more than one employer.
oh, okay.
One of the things, 80 hours a week, the property management services entails several issues or several items of compliance with our regulatory permits that the city holds for the site. And moving further, ES Consulting, Mitigating Circumstances, Quest Control, Country Bill Lawn Service, Bryant Security, National Construction Rental. All of these are services or companies or subcontractors that were performing work on the site. Most of these subcontractors are presently under the purview of the developer. So, and continuing, to review all subcontractors' invoice, monitor and approve all site access, escort potential bidders for the city of North Miami on the site. So I could go on and on. There are several pages in the RFP. It's in your package. As per the last council meeting, every council member has a copy in their package.
So what is the change? You said it's changed, it's completely changed, so it's changed to what? What it actually is doing right now that's different than what you just said?
Most of the work outlined in this RFP is presently being done by the developer.
I understand that. You said that the scope of work has been tremendously changed.
Correct.
So that's been, he has been doing something different than the scope of work. So what is it that he has been doing right now? Are you saying that he's not doing anything at all on the site? Because if you're telling me the scope of work is changed, that's mean instead of doing what's in there, he's doing something else. No?
Well, presently he's performing project management work on behalf of this contract. Project management, the city has just completed the phase 1 and phase 2 of the groundwater remediation system. He was also on the site with city staff supervising what went on there.
Okay. So, oh, since the mayor's not here, might as well just keep on moving. Are you saying if we terminate the contract right now, we will never need another person or another contractor on the site right now supervise what the actual developer is doing on the site? Is that what you're saying as well?
What I'm saying is, if the contract is terminated, the services can be done either 2 ways. Either put it back out for bid with the
What services are we referring to?
oversight of the environmental compliance on the site. The city has several.
So what you really asking us to do is terminate this contract and put it out to bid for either his company or any other company can actually bid and win. Is that what you're saying? I just wanted to make sure that we're not actually terminated we're not just terminated the contract or the work or the services. We terminated this contract, but not the services.
As outlined, I said the services under this RFP is not being performed. The services required by the city for compliance with its environmental permit could be issued under a new contract or under a new RFP.
Okay, I'm done for now.
We're going to have a public hearing first?
Yeah. Public hearing is now open on this item. Anyone who wishes to be heard, please do it now. On this item, public hearing is now closed. Well, go ahead.
Belkis Zarati, 13395 Northeast 4th Court. I think what Councilwoman Staril is your question more, the need exists for this service, and the city manager stating that the vendor who's supposed to perform under this contract is not performing their service, but the need exists.
No, we don't answer question back and forth. Let them speak.
Let us speak.
That's the question. The need exists for the service to be provided to the city, and it's not being provided at this point in time by that particular vendor. So we need to find someone that's going to provide us the service that our tax dollars are going towards. That's what it is? Okay, I would appreciate it then that you're looking out for our best interests and you're looking for someone to provide that service. Thank you.
Next.
Sylvia Mayolo, 800 Northeast 124th Street. What is concern me is...
Ms. Mayor, will you pull the microphone down to your... There you go. Thank you.
Yes, what concerned to me is...
It's on. Broadcast. Talk loudly into it.
Yeah, come toward the microphone.
Can you hear me better now? Yeah, what concerned to me is when you're talking about the people have to work 16 hours a day to work 80 hours per week. For a human being, 8 hours is more than enough.
No, he also explained it's more than one person, more than one employee.
Person performing. So the man hours could be several people performing the job.
Several people?
Yes.
Ah, and several people, 80
hours.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. And I said it's too much. Not. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Salvador Barrios, 13070 Northeast 4th Avenue. To the city manager,
what I understood by scope of work is the contract was originally for, let's say, 100% of the work, and now that a certain percentage of that work has been taken on by the developer. So obviously, this contract, for its amount of 100% 3 years ago, is now less. So either way, the contract has to, if not terminated, it has to be adjusted. So, and along with that, there's also metrics of the things that were outlined with the city managers. Were those things performed? Were they performed satisfactory? Yes or no? I mean, it's fairly cut and dry. That's all.
Richard Ennis, 13030 Northeast 10th Avenue. People, this is not rocket science. There was a list of 100 things that he was supposed to do until the developer took over the majority of those things. Now there's only one main thing that needs to be done, which either can be done with a city employee or a new contract at a lot less money for one person instead of two people. And if you don't terminate this contract and you extend it, then he's going to be having a contract to do, getting paid to do nothing. He's going to get paid to do a couple of items when he was supposed to do 100 items. It's real simple. Kill the contract and put it out again.
Hi, good evening. Carol Prager, Arch Creek East. So it's my understanding that there is not a contract that where you're paying month to month right now? We're paying month to month. We're paying month to month, so there really isn't a contract to terminate. That's number one. And number two, if we're paying him month to month to do work that the developer is doing, why are you doing that? And can we get our money back?
No clapping, please.
Karen Mills Francis. You know my address.
Pull the microphone up and broadcast.
Karen Mills Francis. The first thing I heard Aleem said was until the land deal is completed, and it seems like we had meetings some months ago that told us that the land deal was completed. So the language of the contract is what controls until the land deal is completed. That was the beginning of the contract. Land deal is done. The other thing is that, well, I don't know if you guys watch the news, but this same contractor is accused of dumping materials in the lake in Liberty City. So we need to think about who we have under contract. But the most important thing, when you guys talked about Walmart and let's bring jobs, if this little oversight stuff can be done by two people at $40,000 a person, then you've given two people who live in North Miami a job and not this contractor, $25,000 a month.
Public hearing is still open for a few seconds. Public hearing is now closed. Council members, if we have any comments, please.
Say something?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't want to get into too much detail. I did last week. In 2011, when the city got the property back from the previous developer, the city entered into a resolution to retain the services of a property manager until such time as the city is able to obtain a new developer and enter into a new agreement. That's the city put out an RFP. There are about 3-4 pages of scope of that RFP to manage, to bring bidders in, prospective bidders, to watch the security, maintain the fence. Additionally, there were daily, weekly, and monthly testing that was supposed to be done by the project manager, and those reports were supposed to be given to the city. Also, insurance was required, and there was a time where the property manager himself was supposed to work a minimum of 5 days a week for 8 hours. That's the 40 hours. I have requested from staff, there is only one insurance policy since 2011, so there's no insurance maintained on the property that I was given. The city has no reports that were required. There should be about 40 reports. The logs do not show 40 hours a week, but I only have seen logs as of last year. Fast forward to 2013, the city extended this contract again for another year. There was all kinds of talks about different terms. Somehow, this board, I was sitting on it, agreed to extend for one more year. I didn't personally, but that's what the council agreed to. Somehow, the extension renewal has another option in there, which is, I don't know how it got in there, but there is a renewal for another year at the approval of the council. So that's something that had to be done. I think last year, 2 years ago, staff has been saying the work that needs to be done. We do need a watchdog, we do need a property manager. But the work that could be done in-house, and I was told this 18 months ago, could be done for under $100,000. So the scope has changed drastically. So we either need an in-house employee to do this work for about $80,000, $90,000, or we will put it out for an RFP with a totally different scope and not anything near the $300,000 per year, $25,000 per week. I just want to bring up one more little troubling item that came to after last meeting is Channel 10 put out a news report, and they showed that they had the county had cited Mayor Celestine and his partner for illegally filling a lake in North Dade. What's troubling is it appears that his partner, I guess his name is Ricardo, this is also the same contractor that is working at Biscayne Landing filling our lakes. So the watchdog that we have hired to watch what is going on in our Biscayne Landing project and making sure that everything is done properly, the lakes are filled properly, the road is put in properly, the watchdog is watching his partner. And this is a conflict, and this is also in violation of paragraph 9.2 of our contract. So at this point, I feel that any renewal of this particular contract at this time would be malfeasance on the part of our council, and I will not be voting for it this evening.
Mr. Galvin?
Thank you. Point of clarification, the applicant has only just now entered the room. Mr. Mayor, is it your intention to open it up to the applicant for further discussion? If so, I'd like to wait to address my questions until after the applicant has make a
that
presentation.
would be a plausible thing to do at this time, to give him the opportunity to rebuttal to all the...
First of all, Mr. Mayor, member of the council, one of the main reasons that
Your name?
My name is Joe Celestine, 13500 Northeast 3rd Court, North Miami, Florida 33161. One of the main reasons that I don't show up up here today, I am so upset at all the lies that has been presented today by a member of the council. First and foremost, I printed out a copy of the newspaper, of the Channel 10 printout, in which the article was published. Ricardo Rodriguez was a contractor at Biscayne Landing, was terminated a year ago. He is no longer at Biscayne Landing working. This project, as stated here in Channel 10, I have the printout so everybody can get a copy. I was contacted by a group of investors to draw a plan for a single-family model that's going to be a part of the development. All I did is draw a set of plan that was permitted by Miami-Dade County. My firm did that. A permit was issued for soil improvement. I was just the guy who designed a conceptual plan. I am not a contractor, and I need you to retract. I was not cited for violating the rules. You should know. You're an attorney, and I'm giving you an opportunity. You said on the record that Joe Celestine and his partner was cited for dumping illegal goods into a lake. That is damaging to my name and my record. I was not the contractor of record on the job site. I am not the owner of the development. Channel 10 only said, Mr. Ricardo Rodriguez said Mr. Celestine was the guy who drew the plan for the single family. Would you go after the designer who designed the conceptual plan for Biscayne Landing if the contractor at Biscayne Landing did illegal dumping? When you mention my name as a licensed individual by the state of Florida, as an elected official, and you said I, Joe Celestine, was cited, you need to show evidence of a citation that was issued under my license name or my name to me, either as a contractor, as an owner, which it's online, everybody can see it. I have absolutely nothing to do with the project. I'm not the owner, I'm not the contractor, I was not seen dumping anything, I was not near the project when the dumping was done. All I did was sold a design of a single model home to a development company that needed a model. So I need you to retract that, and if you do not, I am going to file a lawsuit to clear my name because you just stated on the record that Joe Celestine, the contractor, was cited for illegal dumping. That is affecting my license, is affecting my good name. So I need you to retract that unless you are sure of what you're saying.
I believe I said that the Channel 10 reported that you were cited. I didn't say you were cited.
Channel 10 never reported that. Here's a copy of Channel 10 put out. Let me show it to you so you
Can we stick to the points at hand, please, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, we've extended time. We're going to speak to the Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, we're either going to speak to the issue or we're not.
If you were accused of violating the law, of doing something wrong by an elected official on the dais with 100,000 people looking at it, you would want a correction, you would want a cleanup to your name. I bought a copy of the printout of the Channel 10 for everybody to see.
Mr. Celestine, you already mentioned what the course can be. So
Okay,
just
now,
move on to the next
let
question.
me go back.
You do whatever that you have
Okay.
to do, but we got it.
Do you have a business relationship with this Ricardo? Continue. That was reported?
No, at this time, I think, you know what we're doing now?
Okay.
It's like we are injecting items, discussion that have absolutely nothing to do with the issue at hand.
Mr. Mayor.
We are discussing a previous contract that Mr. Celestine had, and we're trying to terminate his relationship with the city because of non-performance.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So let's take at that issue, please.
Mr. Mayor, obviously, Councilwoman Keys is not in privity with the record. I don't have a contract with Joe Blow down the street. In 2012, the city of North Miami, by a majority of its votes, voted to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with me. Here's a copy of the resolution that defined the scope of my work. What Councilwoman is talking about was in 2011. In 2013, the scope of my work, and I'm going to read for you, the role of the property manager for this contract is defined as an individual who will oversee the day-to-day construction activity for the said property, ensuring that all activity performed on site comply with present regulatory requirements. Here's a copy of the resolution signed and the
Mr. Clerk,
one for the city attorney and a copy for each member of the board, Mr. Clerk. So they can see the scope of my work. Now,
What's going on?
Councilwoman Keys said Joe Celestine is being paid $300,000 a year. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 4 employees managing the project. My employees are full-time working on site.
Mr. Celestin, can you hold on a minute? Can you hold on a minute? Because we don't want to go, maybe there are a lot of things that we need to know before you move on.
Mhm.
Mr. Madam City Attorney, City Manager, do you guys know this contract? Because apparently you guys don't have it. Is
No, the
that
contract-
a
the
true contract?
No, the actual
What
contract is
he
there.
read on record is different than what the city manager actually read. Is that different or is it the same?
I believe the city manager was reading from the request for proposal, and what Mr. Celestine was reading was the resolution that came before this
Can
body.
I'm sorry, can you speak
Oh,
more
I'm
loudly?
sorry.
I'm barely hearing, I'm 2 feet
you
away.
know, I think it's the sound.
I'm sorry, what is it?
What the city manager was reading was the request for proposal. What Mr. Celestine was reading was a resolution that was passed by this body on November 12th, 2013.
But should we discuss what had recently passed, or are we supposed to discuss what actually passed 2011?
Well,
so
it started with the request for proposal.
Yeah, but
And-
right now we actually enter a different contract with them, or the scope of work according to this one is actually we voted on the change.
I don't
This
see a
contract is
change
merely
in.
extended.
Yeah, I don't see a change of the scope of work.
The
Okay.
contract
I just want to make sure that we're all in the same page before we're discussing things that does not even exist.
the amendment just amends the time and extends the period.
Go ahead.
Okay.
One point of clarification. I'm reading the third whereas. Pursuant to this resolution, the property manager services was executed on May 20th, 2011 between the city and property manager in accordance and terms and specifications contained in the RFP agreement. This is the contract that Mr. Celestine just provided. So
And-
it does reference the RFP that I just read from.
And second page of the resolution said, whereas in October 9, 2012, Mayor and City Council authorized the city manager to amend the agreement with the property manager. Okay? The second whereas in page number 2. In fact, the original agreement was done on a month-to-month. This amendment deleted all the section of the prior agreement to include a contract that would be awarded on a yearly basis. Okay? So now, for the member of the council, when you hear that Joe Celestine is getting paid $300,000, the Councilwoman Keys didn't tell you that half of my income is paid by the developer. To be exact, $125,000 of that is not paid by the city of North Miami. It's paid by the developer. It was an agreement signed during the lease agreement with the understanding that we're gonna need a spotter, which is a federal requirement that there be someone on site checking the incoming waste. Those individuals that are working at Biscayne Landing are my full-time employee. They do not work for the city of North Miami. They work there from 7 o'clock all the way to the evening, and they work for me. I pay them out of the income that I receive. You were not being told that. They're doing the duty that is required by law to ensure the incoming waste. You should know it was because of my work that this city discovered 200,000 of waste that included a high level of aluminum and many other contaminants that was going to go in the groundwater was rejected by me when the Department of Environmental, when the Mr. Director of Public Works approved it. They brought a bunch of people here. I was the lone person that stood up and said, this soil is contaminated. It will hurt the people of North Miami. Because of that, I went all the way to EPA to have EPA demanded that Durham rejected the soil and apologize. It was the same person here who's watching the health and safety of the people of North Miami who called Councilman Galvin after the city and its staff approved a light pole to be installed in the methane gas who could have exploded and created a time bomb in North Miami. After my meeting with Councilman Galvin, the contractor turned around, reissued the plan to do otherwise. I want the public to know also, the city of North Miami was managing this contract from Biskin Lending. The Office of the Inspector General determined that $10 million was misappropriated and the city of North Miami did not properly manage the Biskin Lending contract. Here's the Inspector General report that demanding no invoice, no contract, no receipts by the contractor in Biskin Lending was given, and $10 million of city funds had disappeared without any invoice under the watch of this Public Works Administration. Also currently, and the report is here by OIG, also under this same report, today at Biskin Lending, there's been amount of violations that I'm fighting still today. The Director of Public Works can come forward and tell you. Yesterday we had a meeting with Durham. The entire system, which I've been fighting for since 2012, was supposed to be built 15 feet away from the wetland.
Can you please try to wrap it up?
It is built at zero light line. Now it's got to go back again. We have a meeting on Thursday. They may have to do the whole work again.
But who
So-
approve it?
What did you say?
Who
ma'am?
approve it?
Halim Ghani and the Public Works Department.
Mr. CD
Okay,
Manager.
so the record is here. And if you want to call Mr. Director of Public Works,
It's okay, Joe.
No,
The Director of Public Works.
Mr. Celestin. Okay,
Continue.
We've heard enough.
In conclusion, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, let him conclude.
In conclusion, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I have a contract which was awarded by this body. When the contract was awarded to me, to my firm, Michael Blaine made the motion to award the contract. The reason I'm upset is because Councilwoman Key said today on Channel 10 that I received this contract because of political favor, because of political connection. This is a slap in the face of all of you here who voted on this contract, because you didn't do me any favor, you didn't do me any favor, certainly you weren't on the board.
I wasn't here.
I responded. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Please.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
I responded to a bid where all the contractors in the universe had the right to submit a bid to do this job. I was the lowest responsive bidder in the contract. Everybody else's price was higher than me to do the same job that was advertised. They didn't do me no favor. I responded to a bid that has to be respected because you're a local government, you awarded a contract, and the contract said it will expire in October 2015.
Okay.
Last year, when the resolution was offered, Councilwoman Keys voted against it, but the council approved it. My contract is due to terminate in October 2015. According to the contract I have written in my hand, it says there's 1 year renewal expiring in 2015.
Which one is
That was not voted on. It was not mentioned in the resolution. It was added. And it also can be renewed at the approval of the council.
Okay.
It's not automatic.
Okay, no. Every government who has a contract, they have a budget that is approved on a yearly basis. And this contract that approved on a yearly basis has to be budgeted and approved for. This particular contract has a budget that's been approved for it. This council signed it. If you look on this procurement letter, it says the contract is for 3 years with remaining 2 years.
It doesn't say 3 years.
Okay, let me read again.
We can't do this all night.
We can't keep going back and
Mr.
forth.
Celestin should have fair and ample opportunity to
Yes.
present his side of the story, and then we should get to discuss it.
I
ladies and
agree.
gentlemen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Mr. Celestin.
Can you wrap up and then before we can move on?
He already did.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead, Councilman.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. My position is.
Joe.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Folks, don't do that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I am an abiding agreement with the city of North Miami. My contract says it's no longer monthly, it's yearly. The term of my contract had been It was supposed to be renewed since last year in September. We now, in 2015, there's 7 months left in my contract for completion. I think on a yearly contract at the 11th hour, I only have 7 months left of my contract. I demanded that the city respect that contract they have with me and approve my contract to finish and complete my work in the 7 months. I'd be more than happy to walk away from this circus because I cannot believe elected officials stand up publicly and misrepresent information that is clearly on a piece of paper.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Galvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to make this really brief and quick. Staff, I'm turning to you first because your presentation early was a little confusing for me.
Sure.
When was our first contract with Mr. Celestin awarded?
2011.
In your, I'm looking at
I
your
know,
timelines.
I've got it. I'm asking this to get this on the record. Don't tell me to look at the documents. I know we've got them. When was our first contract with Mr. Celestin awarded?
May 17th, 2011.
What was the length of that contract? Until such time as the developer took over the project.
That's
When did
correct.
the developer take over the project?
I believe it was 4 months after the contract date.
So the 4 months between May of 2011 until September of 2011 was the original term of the contract with Mr. Celestin.
That's correct.
It then continued until a new resolution was passed in 2013. Why was it allowed to continue between September of 2011 and the resolution of 2013?
2012.
Or
It's
2012?
May 2012.
Why was it allowed to continue?
The council voted on it, sir.
Okay. So the new resolution then took effect May of 2012 and continues until now.
It continued until October of 2014. At that point, when I brought it before the board, which was last city council meeting, my authorization as the city manager is only allowed up to 100,000. That would put us at the end of January. From October, November, December, the end of January, my limits as your manager was expired.
Okay. Now that we know succinctly that the contracts have all expired, and this is now a month-to-month decision by the council that is yet to be funded by the council.
Correct.
How many, you've already stated that the original contract said that there would be performance of 5 days a week, 80 hours per week. There are logs at Biscayne Landing, I assume, that log who comes and who goes?
Yes, it is maintained by the security company.
Have you examined those logs?
I've seen some of those logs.
How many hours are being performed versus the 80 hours per week that the contract says?
Some of the times Mr. Celestine entered the site based on the logs were ranging from 15 minutes to 2 hours, some extended to up to 4 hours.
4 hours a week,
Right.
4 hours a day?
4 hours per day.
Okay.